Hey everyone, it's Gina K and welcome to Stampin' Chat. Tonight we are going to make a fun fall project together. I'm going to be using the new Festive Fall Kit, but if you didn't get that kit, you can use any fall flower stamp set that you have, or really any stamp set that you have to play along with this one. So I'd like to welcome everybody here. I know we had a little rough start there in the beginning. We're just kind of all over the place again tonight. And just to let you know, if our cameras do go off at any time, just hang in there, don't leave, because Tom's been really good about getting them working again. But so far, things are working pretty well. So tonight, you know, this has been quite the last couple of days, hasn't it? And uncertainty is my word of the day, just that uncertain feeling that I have. I don't know if you guys have just that feeling of uncertainty too, but it is truly the most stressful and uncomfortable feeling I know. Just being uncertain. We all like to feel like we have a plan, that we know what's going on. And I have been feeling uncertain about a lot of things lately. You know, some stories don't have a clear beginning, they don't have a clear middle, and they don't have a clear ending. And life is about not knowing. It really is. It's about having to change and making the best of things. So I guess the only answer to uncertainty is courage and hope. Well, tonight I thought I would start with one of my most frequently asked questions that I see in our Facebook group is how to re-ink an ink pad. And I have a very dry sea glass ink pad here. So I'm going to show you how to re-ink it, and then we'll get on with our project. All right, so let's flip over to the overhead, and let me get a piece of cardstock here. I have everything everywhere already, and I haven't even started, guys. All right, and also I want to move a piece of paper here that's right in my way. Okay, so here I have a sea glass ink pad, and I have a sea glass re-inker. So I'll show you how to, let me grab the ink cube too, because people were asking how to do the ink cube as well. So here's the sea glass ink cube. Okay. So it's very, very easy to re-ink an ink pad. Now, one thing I want to tell you about these re-inkers is they are really fun to use all by themselves. And if you look back on any of my live videos that I've done, or any videos that I have on my YouTube channel, you're going to find lots of re-inker techniques, from using them with baby wipes to using them for a thumping technique, and also using them to paint like it was a watercolor. These are a water-based ink, and they are water reactive, so they do the spotting thing when you squirt them with water. And but re-inkers are great for re-inking your ink pad. Now, I don't re-ink my ink pads very much. Maybe once a year. I have some colors that I've never re-inked, and they still work really well. So what I'm going to do here for this is I'm going to re-ink this ink pad by starting at the top corner. And I'm going to do a Z pattern. So I'm going to just do a Z and another Z and another Z. And you can see I'm just going in a diagonal in a Z pattern all the way across from the top left to the bottom right. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same thing again, that Z pattern. Okay. Then I'm going to have it straight, and I'm going to do just some long lines across the center. Like that. And then some long lines this way. Now, I'm not squirting very much. I'm just kind of doing just a light squeeze. So you can see there's tons of ink still left in this re-inker. This will re-ink this ink pad like, I don't know. I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say 1,000,000 times, but it feels like 1,000,000 times because I didn't use that much ink. So that's all I do. And then I just let that sit overnight. And what happens is all of the ink will just kind of disperse evenly throughout this linen pad. And tomorrow it will be all ready to use. Now I can use it now as well. But there might be some spots that are a little juicier than others. If you let it sit overnight, it'll be completely even by the morning. So with my ink cubes, I do something similar. I just take that re-inker and I do a tiny little Z, like that, a couple Z's, turn it and do the same thing on the other side. And that's really it. I do. I am touching the pad. I'm like resting the nose of the re-inker bottle right onto the pad like this while I'm doing it. And I just very, very lightly squeezing it. And that's it. Super easy to re-ink these ink cubes and ink pads. And then I'll just let that one sit. Now, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you have over-inked an ink cube or an ink pad, and that can happen every once in a while, especially when you're first kind of getting the hang of it, just take a paper towel and take the ink pad or the ink cube and just squeeze out a little bit of the ink by pressing on it 2 or 3 times. And that will get rid of any excess ink that maybe is over inked. Now, the other thing that people ask me a lot is, do I have to store my ink pads or my ink cubes upside down? And the answer is absolutely not. You can store them just the regular way and they will work just fine. I don't recommend storing them sideways. I do know some people like to store them sideways in their drawer like this. Well, you know, gravity is a thing. So obviously, if you store them that way and you don't use them very often, over time, that ink is going to work its way down the linen pad and it's going to kind of pool down near the bottom. It also could pool so much that it could leak out of the case. So I would say keep them flat, store them flat, and, you know, just store them the regular way so you can see the pretty color on the top. All right. So if you over inked your memento pad, same thing. Just squish it out on a little bit of paper towel until it's not real juicy. Okay, so that is that. Now, the stamp set that I want to use tonight is from the new kit, and I haven't used this one yet, so I'm kind of excited to use it tonight. This is the Zenflowers stamp set, and this beautiful stamp set was hand-drawn by my daughter, Alicia. She drew all of these beautiful Zen flowers. They're sunflowers, but they're kind of Zen-tangled. So we decided on Zenflower as the name. Now, there's also a long stem that you can use, and we made sure that this stem was long enough that it would work for a slimline card, so you could have a nice long stem and do a few leaves going down and then have that big bold flower at the top. But I wanted to use this today and do a little emboss resist. Of course, it's super fun to color these, and there's all kinds of nooks and crannies to color with nice sharp colored pencils or Copic markers. But I wanted to use these as a background, and then I'm going to actually use one of the flowers as the main image as well. So we'll see how it goes. I didn't plan too much today. I've been feeling off all day. And I know a lot of you are probably feeling the same way. It's just the nature of the way things are right now. But okay, so if your screen is blurry, I see a couple of you saying the screen is blurry. I'm surprised that it's blurry. How's it look for you, Tom? You got it pretty good over there? Yeah, no? Okay, so he's no. He's saying it's pretty clear. I think what people are saying that it's fuzzy or blurry might be more their internet than it is. But Tom's looking really close. Let me see here. Oh no, that looks really clean. Okay, we're watching it. We've got like another thing going on Facebook and YouTube, but it looks pretty clean to us. So my thought is maybe it's kind of heavy traffic tonight on the internet. Good, the blur just cleared out. Okay, so I have a piece of cardstock here that I just cut 4.5 by 5 1/4 inches. This isn't the ultimate size that I'm going to be using, but I'm starting here so that I can trim some edges later. I'm going to start with the embossing magic pad, and I am going to rub this all over the surface of the cardstock. And if it's blurry for you, it very well could be your internet. You could try going out and coming back in, but there's not a lot that we can do about it because it's crystal clear on our end. All right, I'm going to grab this round block because I think this flower will fit on there perfectly. Look at that. That's a perfect, it's like the block was made for this. So it was only blurry when the stamp set was showing. All right, well, we won't show the stamp set anymore then. So thank you, Luann. Yes, if you wouldn't mind clicking the like button and giving me a thumbs up here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. And also if you are on YouTube, please subscribe. I would love to have you as a subscriber. You'll always be the first to know when there's a new video coming up. All right, so I put this large sunflower. It's not the largest one. It's this one. It's actually the smallest one. Look how big these are. So I'm going to rub my finger all over this because I have not used this one yet. It's a brand new stamp. And when it's a brand new stamp, I really like to kind of rub my finger all over it to get the excess, whatever that manufacturing process is. Sometimes it doesn't all come off. Most of the time it won't all come off. So that helps a lot. Now I'm going to use some Versamark ink for this, and I'm going to start by stamping right in the middle. Now I will end up covering up some of these, but I still need to do it this way. I need to do it in the middle because it's going to help me kind of do my pattern the way I want to do it. I'm going to see if I can do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this one right in the middle. Put a little pressure on there. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp it again up on this corner. I'm going to stamp it again down in the right-hand bottom corner. And I am working a little bit quickly because I don't want this Versamark to completely dry. I'm going to do the same thing down in this corner. And then I'm going to do one down in this bottom corner. Now, I know you can't see anything, so this is like the most boring card right now, I'm sure. I'm going to start with that. And then I'm going to put some white embossing powder on here. So I'm going to hold it off to the side here. And I have my white embossing powder in this Glad container. I like using that because I can put several jars of embossing powder in at one time, and it makes it real easy for me to apply the embossing powder. But if you don't have that, just kind of do it over a piece of cardstock, and that will work just fine. Okay, so I know you can't see this, and it's probably a little blown out. Is it kind of blown out, the white? A little bit, yeah. Little bit, sorry about that. Okay, so you can see it? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in before I heat emboss this, and I'm going to just do a little bit of a sunflower right on the edge there. You can see it? All right. Tom says he can see it, so hopefully you can see it too. And you'll be able to see it really well in a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I put my embossing powder down first because I want this to look kind of even, and if I can't like see where I stamp, there's just no way it's going to be even. Oh, I love this. Love this flower. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to emboss it with my Wagner heat tool. Oh yeah. So if you let your heat tool warm up a little bit, it'll emboss a lot more quickly. I didn't do that this time, but it also prevents warping of your cardstock. So, you know, if you have time, just hold it off the card a little bit, like behind you, and just let it heat up just a little bit, and then go ahead and hit your cardstock with it, and it'll go really fast. You can start to see it going a lot faster once it heats up. Okay, now I need to turn it without burning myself. You know, I usually use a clothespin, a wooden clothespin for this. And when I moved from work over to my stamp room here in my house, I lost that clothespin, and I have no idea where it ever got to. I have to go buy a whole pack of wooden clothespins now. They are fun, though. You can hang photos and cards up on a string with them, so I don't mind. All right, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I'm not using the puffy white powder. I am using the Gina K Designs Fine Detail white powder. Now, if you don't have that, you can also use clear powder because it'll get the same result since we actually stamped it on a white background. All right, so now I'm going to get a blending brush. Get a couple blending brushes here because I want to do some autumn colors. And I've got honey mustard. I have jelly bean green and faded brick. I don't know that I want to use faded brick though. I'm gonna do a, what do they call that, Tom, when you're in the middle of a play and you do a different call on the football field?
Audible?
Yeah, I'm gonna do an audible. I think I might use something other than faded brick, but we'll see. So I'm trying to look. Okay, so our puffy embossing, our puffy embossing powder is actually very thick, and it's great for the ocean-minded stamp set. And if you emboss the wave, because it actually looks almost gritty and it really looks like sea foam. But I want this to be super fine detail, especially because these flowers have so much detail in them and I don't want to lose the detail. All right, I am going to use this, and I'm going to use a tiny little brush here. It's not super tiny, but it's got a little green on it. Let's get the tidy towel and we'll clean this brush off. So somebody asked why I can't stamp directly on my craft mat. And the reason why is because this is not a craft mat. This is shelf liner that I bought at Bed Bath & Beyond, and it would definitely melt. I use this as opposed to a craft mat when I do my videos because I can't get rid of the glare otherwise. A lot of the craft mats are really shiny. All right, so I'm going to start with a little faded brick here. And I'm going to use a super light touch. Did you see what I just did? Got it all over my fingernail. So I'm going to use a super light touch, and I'm going to just do in the centers of these flowers. Real light touch. Like that. Now this is not all I'm going to do, but I'm starting here with that just on top there, just to accent the centers. I'm going to go over the whole thing with another color, but I just wanted to have that in the center. I'm working my way out a little bit too. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, it's all glowy. It's so pretty. So now I'm going to use this yellow brush and get rid of this wild dandelion that's on there from my last video. If you didn't see the last live, it's a fun one to watch. We did a World Card Making Day Saturday video, and I did sunrise and sunset blends. So I used some crazy color combinations together, things that don't normally blend together, but they blended pretty well. Okay. So now I am going to use some of the honey mustard. These colored brushes are from Simon Says Stamp, and I love them. They're so cute. Now I'm going over this with honey mustard to get the petals. A wholesale website? That's probably a question for our customer service department. We're in the process of moving our wholesale website over to blend into our retail website, and it's quite a process, so we're working on it. We did send an email out saying it would take about 10 business days, so we're working on it, definitely. But that's probably something customer service can help you a little bit better with. Okay, so now you can see I'm blending this honey mustard in with that faded brick, and I'm going right over the faded brick, but it's just keeping the centers a little bit brighter than the rest of the petals. All right. And then I'm going to do these little sides over here. I know I cut that a little big, so probably some of that's going to get cut off anyway, but I just couldn't not do it. I had to have it coming in over there on the side. Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Do you guys like this? Love it. It's so fun. Okay, so let's look at that up close. Hopefully you guys can see all of that. Now I'm going to take a paper towel again, and I'm going to wipe over the tops of these. And I don't know if it's as obvious on camera as it is in real life, but these flowers become brighter white when I do that. And it's because a little bit of that ink is pooling. You can see it coming off here on the paper towel. It's pooling on the top of the embossing powder. All right. Now I think I'm going to go back in and just darken these areas. I'm not reloading the brush. I'm just adding a little bit more into the center of the faded brick. These are fun autumn colors. Okay. Well, you don't even want to put anything on top of this because the background is so fun. All right, now let's try something else completely wacky. I am going to find a brush that has some blue on it. I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. This has like leftover turquoise sea. I don't know why it's staticky. If you're on YouTube, you can always go over to Facebook and see if it's better over there. I don't know if YouTube's having issues tonight. We are not having issues here. So we're able to see it. Are you watching on YouTube or Facebook, Tom? Well, Tom's watching on YouTube and it's looking pretty clear. So, but again, you know, we're really subject to like how fast your internet is and who else is on your internet. Sometimes like if you're upstairs and the kids are downstairs live streaming stuff, your internet's going to be, your bandwidth is going to be kind of not as quick. All right, so I have turquoise sea on here and I just brushed almost all of the turquoise sea off of this brush. I'm just leaving what's on here. And I'm going to go in around these sunflowers into these empty areas, and I'm going to add with a real light touch a little bit of that turquoise sea. Just to give it a sky look, you know, like, isn't that pretty? Just really, really soft. And if you go in between the petals, you're going to get a little bit of green in there, and that's okay. Okay, so there we go. Oh, I'm glad it's better on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you just really never know what's going on the internet. If a bunch of people are streaming on YouTube tonight, maybe that's clogging it up. And now I'm going to go back with that honey mustard brush, and I'm just going to rub back over those flowers again and blend it out into the blue a little bit more. Kind of getting rid of the sharp lines. And that'll give me a little more green. Now, make sure you head over to the Facebook group afterwards because I will post pictures of this card up close and you can see this blend a little bit better. But that is a very autumny look, even though it's got that cool color in there. Yeah, that's our Facebook group, Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. Just go over and search for that over on Facebook and join our group. We would love to have you. Hey, and I lied. I was going to use Jelly Bean Green, and I did not. I used Turquoise Sea on that brush instead. Okay, so now I think I'm going to cut this out using the Master Layouts dies. So let me grab my die cutting machine. Somebody yelled at me the other night because I was getting ink from this scrap piece of paper back onto my project, and I got a new piece, and she said, no, flip it over. But when I flipped it over, it was just as dirty on the other side. So if you see me getting a new piece, it's just because I've overused it. All right. So I have my plates here, and I think I'm going to use the Master Layouts 2 die set for this. I hope it doesn't cut too much off, but all right. Oh, it is going to cut a lot off. Maybe I'll use Master Layouts 1. I think I'll use Master Layouts 1. So Master Layouts 1 doesn't have the stitching, but it'll give me a bigger canvas here. So I'm going to cut that out. This is Master Layouts 1. I keep them all together now because I mix and match the pieces between the two sets so much. Oh, all right. Got some dirt here from black cardstock, but that is such a nice crisp cut. What is that on there? My brush handles will not be color coded, but I don't think they're going to need to be. And I will explain why when they come out. Okay, so I'm going to take that piece, put it aside, and now I'm going to cut the other panel, the Master Layouts 1 bigger panel. And this will be my little black mat that goes around the edge. And you guys know I love the black mat. This is a tight cut. Where you see what's left of this piece of cardstock. That is all that's left. Wow. All right. And so then those two panels will go together, and I've got that perfect little shadow edge. Okay. All right. Well, again, I apologize if they're static. It's not on our end, though. We have determined that. May very well just be a crazy YouTube thing going on. All right, so I'm going to take another piece of white cardstock, and I am going to cut out this panel, this die, from Master Layouts 2. So how's it sound to you, Tom? Tom's got good audio here, so I don't know what's going on. All right. So I'm going to cut this out with white, and then I'm going to do a little tiny bit of stenciling on it, I believe. Let's see, though, first. Maybe not. Okay, so I've got that cut out, and then I'm going to cut out the next layer for the Master Layouts 2, and that's this bigger one. I'm going to cut that out in black. So those two are going to layer together as well. Ugh. Comes and goes. I don't know. Tom keeps giving me the thumbs up. He's listening. He's got it on all the platforms. Everything's clear and everything's coming through. So when that happens, that usually means that it's unfortunately on the user end and not on our end. Okay, so I've got these two pieces cut together. And then I'm going to put this aside for a minute because I'm going to do another flower and some leaves. All right, let's get this out of the way. All right, and I will bring my scrap piece of paper back in here. So now I did these smaller leaves. Let's zoom in a little bit. Glad we're good in Oregon. Oregon, is it Oregon or Oregon? In Wisconsin, we have an Oregon, they call it, spelled the same way. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably saying it wrong. It's probably Oregon. All right, so I use this smaller one. And what I want to do is I want to have a flower and some leaves on this panel. So I think I might use this bigger one. Will that work? Or should I use a smaller one? No, I'll use a bigger one. So I'm going to stamp thank you from the bottom of my heart on here. And then I'm going to use this next size up. Okay, this is going to be cool. This is actually going to be maybe too big for this block, but we'll see. We'll give it a try. Your cousin Janice used to live in Oregon, Wisconsin? Yeah, they say Oregon here. All right, well, that is like a perfect snug fit on this, but I don't know. I'll have to see how it works. We'll see. All right, I'm going to rub my finger all over it because, again, this is a brand new stamp. Oh, Susan, you got the Master Layouts? You're going to love them. And for those of you that are Master Layouts fans, we have Master Layouts 3 coming in our holiday release. I'm excited about this one too. I can't wait to show you what's coming for the holidays. We're going to have a lot of fun making holiday projects together. I can tell you that. Okay, so I'm going to use Versamark again, and I'm going to ink up this stamp. Wow, this is really close to the edge of the block. I might do these one at a time, the flower and then the leaves. Okay, I'm going to stamp that on here. This is going to be crazy to die cut, but I'm going to die cut it out. I definitely could have used my Misty, but I think this will work well. Okay, here we go again with the white embossing powder. I could have stamped it in black, but I really wanted to keep things very consistent between the background and this particular flower. So let's emboss it first. So I saw somebody asked a comment, can they wear their Misty out? I don't think you can. I don't know, maybe you can. I've never worn one out, but and I do a lot of stamping. I don't know if I stamp that really crisp or not. We'll have to see once I emboss it or once I do the inking on it. So I'm going to take that off and I'm going to use these leaves. Now with these leaves, I can actually stamp two of them at the same time. I'm just going to put them both on the block like that. And then I'm going to ink them up with Versamark. I know I didn't rub my finger all over them, but I am using sticky Versamark ink, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I'm going to stamp these two.
What's the name of this stamp set?
This stamp set is called Zenflowers, and it was part of the Festive Fall Kit. We have more of these stamps coming in, and when they come in, we're going to have them separately, so you'll be able to buy the different sets by themselves. The kit did sell out. Okay. So I'm going to emboss these. I love the leaves too. These are really, really fun to color. When we were first playing with the sample set, they were really fun to color, and I had Alicia add some decorative stuff into the leaves. The leaves were a little more plain when we first were working on them together, and she added more detail, which makes it more fun if you want to color more like a Zentangle pattern rather than just you know, coloring them all one color. Having those segments allows you to color with different colors, kind of like the, you know, adult coloring book kind of thing. All right, so I'm just going to do 4 leaves. I don't know that I'll use them all, but whatever I don't use, I'll throw in my little box of extras. Okay. All right, so now we're going to use the faded brick on the center of this big flower. Okay, very light-handed again, just to accent the center. It looks a lot redder until you get that honey mustard on top. Oh, I love it. And each one of these flowers is a different design, so she didn't, you know, duplicate any of the flowers. They're each unique. Very, very fun set. And now I have honey mustard here. I'm going to just start on that faded brick and work my way out on the petals. Now I am going to die cut this, so I do want to go to the edge, maybe a little over the edge of the petals. This way, even though there would be normally a white edge, it's not going to look very white because that ink is going to extend past the edge. This is just funky, this flower. I love it. Go back with a little faded brick in the center again. Isn't that a great autumn look? Okay, I'm going to take a paper towel and rub the excess off. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that jelly bean green. you know, ink blending to color is really fun because you almost get a shady look, like you're kind of, I mean, it would take a lot to get the colored pencils or the Copics to get that shading in there. I think that's really fun. All right, so jelly bean green for these leaves, just very light-handed. And again, I'm not worried that I'm going outside the lines. I want to go outside the lines. All right. But I love the way the little lines in there catch the ink, and so it looks a little darker along the edges. Ink blending as a coloring technique. One of my favorite things to do. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you know, you can always go back in with colored pencils and shade a little bit on top of this. I have a video where I do that, where I show you shading with colored pencils and ink together. But I think that looks pretty good. It's really glowy on my screen, but I think it looks better on the iPhone and the iPad. There we go. Okay. So I think that's going to look good. Now I'm looking at this color here and this color here, and I'm going to do something a little crazy. This is going to look a lot greener than this. Well, it does look a lot greener. So I'm going to get that brush that had the turquoise sea on it, and I'm going to add just a little of that color. Just a tiny bit. Not a ton, but just a little. And that just softens the color a bit, and it adds just a hint of that blue in there. And then I feel like they match a little bit better. All right, now the real tricky part is to die cut this flower out. And I think I'm going to have to use my other technique. Let me grab a piece of cardstock. I'll be right back. I'm not going too far, but all right. I have a piece of cardstock here. I'm just going to trim a little bit of it off. And I'm going to cut out the die that matches this big one here. So this is the second size flower. And then I'm going to die cut the leaves because I want these to be pretty spot on. And when it comes to a flower that has so many petals, I really have to use my little template technique. I just feel better about it. I always use it too if I've done a lot of fancy coloring on something before I cut it out. Then I'm like, okay, I can't take any chances. So let me zoom out here a bit. There we go. Okay. So for those of you who've never seen this tip before, this will be exciting and new. I'm going to take a piece of, this is our mid-weight cardstock. It's just a piece of Dusty Rose. So it's not quite as heavy as our heavy base weight, but it's not light like a layering weight. It's got a little bit more sturdiness to it. And let's see if I can move this up a bit. I'm just cutting it anywhere here on this cardstock. I'm not cutting anything out. Now, if you want, you could be, you know, you could really save every bit of cardstock, and instead of using a pink piece, you could use green pieces for the leaves and maybe a pink piece or a yellow piece for the flower, and then you could stamp on top of that as well. Or you could stamp something first and try to line it up, and then this part that's left behind is the part we need. So now I'm going to get a pair of scissors. I have my friend Christopher Allen scissors here from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to cut those out, this and these two leaves. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to put my piece of cardstock in here. Let me get rid of that excess there. And I am going to find the perfect spot. You'd think that this would be easy to do, but it is not easy to do. So let me look at it first. Okay. So that should be it right there. There we go. Okay. So I have it placed, and then I was dumb. I didn't grab my purple tape. So let me grab some purple tape here now. And if you don't have purple tape, you can use washi tape. That'll work too. Okay. So I have it lined up well. And then I'm going to tape this all down. You really have to press on this tape to get it to stick. If you're having trouble getting it to stick, it's because you might just be like laying it on there and it doesn't want to stick. You have to rub it. When you rub it, it'll stick better. Okay, and now I'm going to drop the die in. Let me find the spot here. There we go. You'll feel it click into place when it's the right spot. And then I'm going to use this purple tape, press it down real well to hold the die in place. Now this seems like a lot of work. It's not that much work when you've got something that has to be cut right. So if you've gone through all the work of coloring something, this only takes a couple extra seconds to do. And you can keep your templates too and use them over again. Okay, let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to put that aside. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these leaves, maybe. I don't know if I'm going to need to do them with the leaves. Let's try just to line one up and see how easy it is to line up. Oh yeah, I can line these up pretty easily. It's just the ones with all the petals that really stress me out a lot. Should I do 2 at a time and be brave? I'm going to. Okay, here we go. Ugh. All right. Hey, they look pretty good. So I'll put those aside. And I'm going to cut the other 2 out right now. It's just because the machine is out. It's here. I already colored them. I don't know if I'll use them all, but like I said, if not, they can just go right into my little box of bits and pieces for later use. So I don't know if you guys knew, but apparently the Packers changed their game time tonight. And they delayed it an hour, and I think they did that for me. Because I'm the biggest Packers fan there is, and they were supposed to start right when the live started. All right, so there we go. So the benefit of using that extra paper is the ability to line it up first and then drop the die in there and know that the edge is going to be even because the template is perfectly even. So that's why I used that little piece of cardstock first. And it was only because I was like second guessing myself and I really wanted it to look good. All right, so now I've got lots of bits and pieces here. Oh, and one thing, just a quick reminder, if you use this little template technique, don't forget to take your die out right away because I threw one away one time and that is not good. I don't even know who the Packers are playing tonight. Does anybody know? Falcons. Tom said the Falcons. All right. Now, where did I put my... Oh, my goodness. Everything's everywhere, Tom. Here it is. So I'm going to assemble these 2 pieces together first. Let me get my tape. And I'll zoom in to get rid of all the mess that's everywhere. There we go. See, that's how you clean up. You just zoom in. It's a little trick, little YouTuber trick. So I'm going to adhere these 2 pieces together. These are the pieces I cut out from the Master Layouts 2 die set. And I have to get my head in the way, I think. Oh, no, there we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use my Misty for the greeting. So I'm going to pop this into place up here. And the greeting that I want to use is the thank you from the bottom of my heart. So for this one, I'm definitely going to rub my finger over it to get rid of the residue. I've not used this one yet. And again, I mean, you know, if you don't have this stamp set, I'm sure you have lots of pretty flowers in your stamp collection that you can use for this. So I think that looks pretty good. There we go. Okay. All right. Now it is time to stamp it. Let me get my ink cube. I always like to use an ink cube when I do greetings, just because I have a little bit more control. So I'm going to use the black onyx ink cube. What a mess I just made. I'll stamp that. I'm going to have to stamp it a second time, because again, that's a brand new stamp. I think it's time for me to re-ink my black onyx ink cube and ink pad too. I haven't done that in a long time, and I use that almost every time I stamp. Okay, look how cute that is. All right, let me put this aside. And now it's time to assemble this card. So I'm going to start by layering these two panels from the Master Layouts 1 die set together. And then I'm going to use a white card base for this card, because I feel like that's really going to make it stand out. So I just need to get my little score buddy. This is a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I'm going to score that at 5.5 inches. And with these heavier pieces, I like to do a few score lines, then fold, and then take the back of the tool and just run it over that edge so you get that nice crisp edge. Yes, for anybody, I know a lot of people, if you're new, you're wondering what this is. This is my Chucky tool. My friend Chuck Meadows made this for me out of a curtain finial, a furniture pad, and he Gorilla Glued them together, and it helps me put pressure on my Misty. And if you go over to our Facebook group, we have a whole album over there of everybody's homemade Chucky tools. So it's a lot of fun. And thanks again, Chuck, if you're watching. My friend Chuck Meadows, he made that for me, and it's been really a lifesaver. I love it. Okay, so is that straight? I don't know. That doesn't look that straight, does it? I'm gonna shift it a little here. I think my card base isn't straight, but that's what we call good enough. Oh, I hate to just cover that center flower. It's so pretty, but I'm going to. It's what we got to do. I'm going to lay this out first. Put this big flower here. And then I want to get these two leaves. I think I'll do them. I don't know how to do them. Let's see. I'll do them this way. See what they look like coming out like that. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. All right, that's what we're going to do. So I'll get this little panel on here, and I'm mixing Master Layouts 1 and Master Layouts 2, but they look good together. All right. And then I'm going to pop that up. So I have a few foam squares here. So I'll do 3 of them on the back, maybe 4. I'll do 4. It's a big flower. And then I'll peel off the little protectors, liners. I know there's a technical name for these. I think it's liners. We're going with that. Okay, and then I will place that right in the center here. There we go. And then I'm going to stick these two together first. And then just slip them under like that. Let me look. Yeah, that looks good. Stick them together. Add a little tape on that side, and then slide them under there. Now you could add more if you want. You definitely could add another pair of leaves over on this side if you want. Do you guys like the second set of leaves or no? Let's get some opinions. I want to see what they think. I know Tom's quiet tonight. He's over there trying to make sure that everybody can see and everybody can hear and cameras aren't going out. And yeah, okay. So release paper. Thank you, Penny. Yes, release paper. Okay, so no, just the one set of leaves? Okay. Yeah, I guess they kind of look like two fins. All right, so let's just see. Maybe if I put them like up here, do you like that kind of look? No, that's too organized. No, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it just like we said. I'm gonna leave it with one set, and that's what we're gonna do tonight. So there is my finished card. Yes, less is more. I agree, Nina. Less is more. Okay, I know some of you like the 2 sets, some like none, or some like just one, so we're gonna go with one. All right, so there's my finished card for the night, and I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And I will take a good picture of this. I'll get it posted over in our Facebook group so you'll be able to see it up close and see the way the ink blending looks and all of that good stuff. All right, well, we didn't lose any cameras tonight. Awesome. So we talked a little bit at the beginning of the program about uncertainty and the stress that causes and that uncomfortable feeling when you just don't know what's going on, or you just can't get a grip on things. And that's the way everything feels right now. Everything feels uncertain. Everything feels a little nerve-wracking and a little stressful. Hopefully you enjoyed spending an hour with me. I enjoyed spending it with you and just kind of getting our mind off of everything that's going on in our day-to-day lives. So my final quote for the night is, it's all about uncertainty. When nothing is sure, everything is possible. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you all so very much. I'll be back here on Wednesday night with another Whimsical Wednesday Facebook and YouTube Live. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, I'll see you over there in just a little bit with pictures of my cards. Thank you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love you. See you again real soon. Bye-bye.